Welcome to Coffee to Go, where we center ourselves in the scriptures, seasons, and holy days of the Christian tradition. I'm Karin Peter, here with Blake Smith, and we welcome you on the journey. So where are we this week? Well, we are with Jesus, and Jesus is doing some planting. I'm going to use that term loosely in this particular scripture, which is a great scripture for ordinary time, which is where we are in the liturgical calendar, because ordinary time is the time we grow in our discipleship. So today we have an extremely compatible scripture for the season in which we find it. Blake?
And it is found in the Gospel of Matthew, the 13th chapter, and I'll be reading from the 1st through the 9th verse and the 18th through the 23rd verse. That same day, Jesus went out of the house and sat beside the sea. Such great crowds gathered around him that he got into a boat and sat there, while the whole crowd stood on the beach. And he told them many things in parables, saying, "Listen, a sower went out to sow, and as he sowed, some seeds fell on the path, and the birds came and ate them up. Other seeds fell on rocky ground, where they didn't have much soil, and they sprang up quickly, since they had no depth of soil. But when the sun rose, they were scorched, and since they had no root, they withered away. Other seeds fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked them. Other seeds fell on good soil, and brought forth grain, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. If you have ears, hear. Hear then the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what is sown in the heart. This is what was sown on the path. As for what was sown on rocky ground, this is the one who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. Yet such a person has no root, but endures only for a while. And when trouble or persecution arises on account of the word, that person immediately falls away. As for what was sown among thorns, this is the one who hears the word, but the cares of this age and the lure of wealth choke the word, and it yields nothing. But as for what was sown on good soil, this is the one who hears the word and understands it, who indeed bears fruit and yields in one case 100-fold, in another 60, and in another 30. So why does this matter? Well, every time I read this passage, I think, not only have I been in probably all of those places at some point in my journey, I know people who are in those places. And so I don't think this is, for me at least, I don't think this is meant for judgment, but for acknowledgement, as that there are things in this life that make this journey difficult, and we can become part of one or the other based on the circumstances of the day. And that too is kind of at the heart of this. In the connections commentaries, which we refer to often, Karin refers to them, I have referred to them because we use those a lot in this series as a new and fresh set of commentaries on these passages.
A new and multi-ethnic, multi-gendered commentary,
And speaking of multi-ethnic, the commentary that I want to reference here is by someone who I may slaughter their name, and I apologize if I miss this, but I would say Mahi Kim Court is the commentary writer, and she describes a piece of art by Aidan Hart. It's a description of the parable of the sower, and in this description, Jesus is dressed in a plain shirt and jeans, and it's Jesus that's scattering the seeds every which way, just throwing them to the wind, throwing them out, and it gives this idea of the divine as being menial, a laborer, not the owner of the field, not the big corporation, not the one in control and power, but a common laborer, really there among the people. It's touching on that human side of Christ. So the divine in this way of imagining is reckless and lavish and foolhardy. And
and every farmer looking at it is going, that is not how you plant seed.
Yeah, looking back at some of our recent episodes, is like, what are you thinking? Pull yourself together, Jesus.
Exactly.
That's not how we do this. It's his time to be in the receiving seat in this image. The listeners, of course, are concerned, and it doesn't bode well for a good yield. These farmers who are watching, like, that's not what we do. Yet, as the parable plays out, a good harvest is exactly what happens. For a good yield, you need good seed and good soil. Good soil, as we relate it to our lives, is being open and trusting and willing. Often this soil is found on the margins of the field, and so the seed must be scattered. I like this thought of the seed and the good soil being on the margins of the field. When we talk about that in culture, it gives us a little hint, because I believe that it is also true there, that some of the richness from multicultural, which we often tend to marginalize, is lost when we don't pay attention to that soil. So I really like that part of this image. But the seed has to be scattered. The gospel writer knows that following Jesus is tough work. And we know that justice and peace building is going to get our hands dirty. If we're engaged in it at all, it's gonna cause hard work and labor, and our hands are going to get dirty. So dress accordingly. Put on the flannel shirt and the jeans, you know, and get to it is kind of what this image allows for. And I really like that idea in that image. So the questions that arise from this, I think, at least some, would be, what kind of soil am I? What kind of soil am I? So we like to think that we're the good seed that's being spread, but I like this thought of being the soil that receives it. Are we rocky ground that the seed bounces off of? You know, are we the good soil? Where do we fall in that? The second one would be, am I frugal or lavish with my time, treasure, and hospitality? Do I spread seed with abandon?
Yeah.
And finally, what kinds of seeds am I planting with my words, actions, choices, and interactions?
So I find this question really interesting, Blake, because I think sometimes people who are familiar with Scripture, read Scripture, we hear this and we think about, oh yeah, the seeds of the gospel, and that's what we're sharing. And so we think that we're sowing seeds only when we're talking in our like religious life or our church life or spiritual life. But actually, we are scattering seeds all the time, because the seeds are our words and actions and choices, even if we're not talking about religious subjects, and we forget that sometimes. Right. So think about that before you make that Facebook post, that what kind of seed are you planting today by your words and actions and choices, interactions? Yeah.
Such a great point.
So I think a fun way to experience it this week is to get yourself a pocket full of, or a small bag, a nice reusable small bag, and fill it with sunflower seeds that are in the shell, not the salted kind ready to eat, just plain old sunflower seeds. And as you walk to your car or on a path or home from school, just scatter some seeds for the birds of the air, and be lavish with the seeds. Be reckless and be generous.
All right. Well, our blessing for today comes from Prayers and Sayings of the Mad Gardener by Wendell Berry. So maybe you have in your mind an image of Jesus as the mad gardener, as he stands in his jeans and and throws seeds in crazy ways. Sowing the seed, my hand is one with the earth. Wanting the seed to grow, my mind is one with the light. Pulling the crop, My hands are one with the rain. Having cared for the plants, my mind is one with the air. Hungry and trusting, my mind is one with the earth. Eating the fruit, my body is one with the earth. Well, thanks for joining us here at Coffee to Go. Karin and I invite you to join us next time here for the next part of our journey through the liturgical seasons and holy days of the Christian tradition.